I want to talk about food because I love food and I love sauces and I love all kind of things that normally, statistics say are fattening and all this and bad for you. So is it possible to get into a state of perfect alignment that you could eat anything and drink anything if it was done with pure joy and with pure appreciation, that your physical body would not be affected in any way and that you would stay healthy?
Well, you know that the answer, we'll wait for them to get over this. You know that the answer to that has to be yes, because you see different people having different results from same food. Mm-hmm. So you know that there has to be another factor, and there always is another factor, and that other factor always is your vibrational relationship. Let's say that you've identified something that you want to eat. You have split energy about it because you want it because it tastes good, and you want it because it's social maybe, and you want it because it's available. You want it. But you don't believe it's good for you. So you want it, but you don't want it. In other words, I want this thing I shouldn't eat. There's a tremendous amount of split energy in that. And it is from that vibrational vantage point that most people are eating most things. So let's just begin by saying that when you get into a place of vibrational alignment, then everything that you eat will benefit your body in a more powerful way. Now, what we notice happening is that as you make your alignment more important to you than the action, as you say, I'm going to get into vibrational alignment and then I'll take action, often your action begins to vary as you receive inspiration for what you are wanting. Now, here's really what we want to say to you. This is a very big topic. So you heard us say that through the contrasting experience, you've been launching many things into your vibrational escrow. So you eat something that you like and you want more of it. And you eat something that you don't like and you don't want more of it. And you taste things that don't taste good even though they're touted as healthy, and you launch a rocket relative to that. So you're launching rockets of desire into vibrational escrow that say things like, I want things that taste good. I want things that are pleasing. I want things that are healthy. I want my body to feel good. I want to do what's best for my body. I want to do things that are socially accepted, maybe. In other words, there are all kinds of responses that you're having to life that are causing you to launch these rockets. And Source is receiving all of them and has already vibrationally become them. And now your urges and cravings, when you are a vibrational match to your source energy, will lead you right to those things that satisfy all of that. In other words, it is absolutely possible to find enormously satisfying food that meets all of the other criteria. But if you are saying, could I choose something that I've always believed, or that I've come recently to believe, that there is so much data around it to believe that it is not a healthy thing, could I eat that and still be healthy? And the answer to that is no. You cannot be healthy when you eat something that you believe is not healthy to eat. So it's all about shifting your vibration.
But isn't it up to me to decide what is healthy on my own and not on the statistics of what someone else
Yes, and that's
does?
really what we are teaching here.
Yeah.
But it's easier for you to close the gap by finding action that matches your beliefs than it is for you to change those beliefs in a culture where there is so much mass consciousness moving in opposing directions. But you see, that's really what we're teaching, isn't it? We want you to disregard the opposing directions of mass consciousness and chart your own course and listen to one signal. And that's really what your question allows us to speak most powerfully about. And if you've been listening, we bring it up over and over again. So your life causes you to want health and to want things that are satisfying, to want all kinds of things that the non-physical part of you has already become. So now you're being called toward that. So you get an impulse about something. If you are listening, if because of all the other subjects that you're practicing it on, if you're practicing paying attention to the way you feel when you say these words or think these thoughts or take this action, and if you've been practicing taking the path of least resistance, which is letting yourself find as much relief as you can, then what begins to happen is this one signal that is such a powerful, loud, dominant calling literally drowns out everything else that is out there. But it really takes a decision. First of all, it takes a decision that says, I know that source is aware of me, and I know that all of my intentions have been noted, and I know that information is being offered to me, and I know that I have the ability to hear it. In other words, you really have to get to that place first before you're then ready to not listen to that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. We're surprised any of you can find anything to eat. Because somebody has written a book about everything about why you should not eat it.
Well, yeah, and that brings up the very first time I came across this was when I went to a meditation class early on in my, my conscious evolution. The teacher said, stop drinking caffeine. And I was like, hell no. Because I love the smell of coffee. I love to make it in the morning. I love for it to wake me up. I love to put my sugar in it. I love to put my cream in it. And the joy of drinking that seemed to far override like the chiding of some teacher over here on the side.
Well, here's something else that we want to give you. And we're not wanting to upset any teachers that are trying to get you to take specific action, but we really want you to understand that your body is like a chemical factory that has the ability to extract from your diet what it wants and needs. You have such an ability to compensate. In other words, physicians and scientists have not even begun to explore the chemistry that goes on in the digestive system of a human body. In other words, they're not even close to understanding. And the thing that we would like you to understand from our point of view is that that chemistry is so much more affected by your vibrational gap than it is by what you're eating, that it makes what you're eating close to irrelevant. But if you're not tending to the emotional gap, then you might want to tend to what it's sort of an analogy. Analogies are never perfect because they sometimes leave you hanging out there in some raw and ragged place. But it would be like saying, I'm taking driving lessons every single day so that I can become a really proficient manager of this vehicle. And we say, that's all well and good, but if you're not in a good mood, you ought not to be driving. In other words, all the skill in the world is not going to necessarily put you in the place of being sensitive to what's happening out there in traffic. Where if you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, if you're intuitive, if you're in alignment with broader perspective, then your impulses are better and then your view is longer. And a similar thing happens with your body. When you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, your factory just works better. And there are so many people who are depriving themselves of this and this and this and this and this. And in that angst, they are widening their gap, not closing in the gap. And then they're not receiving the benefit from what they are eating. So here's the bottom line in all of this. Make friends with your food, whatever it is that you're eating. Never eat something in a place of believing that you should not eat it. If you're going to eat it, make friends with it first.
Sure. Thank you. And there's great love and appreciation for you here.
It is clear.
Abraham, I want to follow up on his food thing. Someone sent us an email the other day about a chemical in our food.
We think you should make a documentary about it.
And so for the last few years, I'll take a taste of something, I'll say, man, that's good, it must have that in it. And I'll look at the ingredients list and it has it in it. And then it's got to the point that almost everything that I look at, almost every label has it in it. And the result is that I don't eat much of that. But I didn't eat much, even in the beginning, before I knew what anything was in it, it tasted too good to be true or something. Some part of me just didn't eat that. I wasn't consciously not eating it because it was in there. I was not eating it because something in the taste wasn't right for me. So explain that to me.
It's like anything that you introduce to your body that is foreign in the beginning. You have to continue to ingest it until your body begins to accept it. It's like when anyone begins smoking, their body does not like it at first. But in time, what happens is whenever you take anything into your body, whether you breathe it in or shoot it in or eat it in, whenever you take anything into your body, immediately the trillions of cells begin to go to work on accepting it, in managing it, in dealing with it, in compensating for it. And in that compensation, your body finds its balance. Your body finds its balance relatively quickly, usually within a few days. Well, once your body finds its balance with the ingesting of this whatever it is, Now it's found this new balance, which now your intake almost needs to support. That's what cravings are. The craving is the body now asking for what you trained it to get used to. So in the same way that you sort of have to learn to smoke, and once you do, it's harder to stop doing it, anything that you introduce to your body, it's going to acclimate to it because that's what it does. And then it's going to feel to you like it wants more of it. And so what happened to you is you never ingested enough of it to ever ask your body to acclimate to it. And we do not think it's because of a wariness of it. We think that it was more a deliberate intention on your part to avoid it.
But I didn't know what I was avoiding, but some part of me
sensed it. But here's the thing that we want you to compare it to. It's like your description of the first time you smoked.
Right.
And the coughing experience that you had. Wasn't that an indication to you that your body preferred otherwise? First.
At that time, yes. Later it preferred otherwise.
What happened in the interim? You pushed through. You pushed through the warning.
Okay.
And overcame your fear or your warning. And then your body began to acclimate as it always does. You have a very balancing body. Something to really applaud. You all worry too much about all of this.
Yeah. Well, it was just such a long email and had a lot of energy behind it. I just wanted to, it said to send it to everybody you know, and so I figured everybody here probably has already got it. So
why we
I didn't send it to them.
Just add it to the long list of books that are written about everything that you should not eat. And in time, you'll have a difficult time finding anything to eat.
That's
and
true.
We are not disagreeing that there are things that are more natural to your body. And you can find them if you care about it. But we are not willing to go down that path that says you have to be wary of the action. Because we're not teaching you about action. We're teaching you about vibrational alignment.
Right.
And if you work on vibrational alignment, then you're guided to the action that most satisfies what you really want. And when you try to approach it from an action standpoint of reading labels and avoiding this and this and this and this and this, it almost always scrambles your energy, and you usually end up vibrationally confused, and then you can't sense when you're eating something that's detrimental and when you're not, you see. It's sort of like, when do you stub your toe? Isn't it when you're angry? When do you cut your finger? Isn't it when you're worried about something? In other words, when you tend to your vibration first, you're always guided to the action that is most in vibrational alignment with your well-being. And when you get out of balance, then everything's out of balance. When you get out of vibrational balance, that's when you begin to gravitate to the things that you already believe are inappropriate for you. You find yourself actually craving all of those things that you said you would not eat when you are out of balance. And when you are in balance, you find yourself craving those things that you believe are most beneficial or most satisfying. Watch it. It is always the case.
And it's only as per our belief. There's no reality beyond our belief.
That is true of everything. But it's a difficult thing to separate your belief from the reality that they keep documenting. They document reality. They make a big thing about it. They show it to you. They send it to you in an email. And as you read it and as you believe it, then it is in your vibrational nature. And now you are having responses to it, you see.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.